Thank you so much, Mary. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I want to say a shout out to all my friends and family that are here today. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. And also to the Rotary, thank you so much for this invitation to talk about CMT, an organization that I love just about above everything you can possibly imagine. What I can tell you is, I think it was 1982 is when I first came to California. I was the choreographer for Marriott's Great America, and I met a lot of theatrical types during that time period, and some of them were involved with CMT. So in the next 5 years, I had worked as a director and choreographer for CMT. It was like my second job, had a lot of fun, and I met a lot of wonderful people, like this guy. Michael Mulcahy, not everyone can wear white. He certainly can. But the Mulcahys, the Shiros, those are long-time friends, so many family friends I've had over the years, and there's certainly some of them. I had to move to Texas for my company. We did shows for everybody you can imagine, and I had an opportunity to marry my wife, Chris, and we had our first child. And lo and behold, it was 1994, I think, and Michael was then the executive director. He'd grown up quite a bit, and he was in a bind because they needed someone to come and fill in for a director that had dropped out at the last moment. I said I didn't know how that was ever going to happen. We were just so busy. But somehow, logistically, we worked it all out, and I had an opportunity to come that summer and work on a show called Guys and Dolls. I'll bet you some of you have even probably been in it at some point in your life. And I had the great good fortune of getting a chance to come and work with the young people. It was the most important 8 weeks of my life, because it was in that 8 weeks as a young man in my early 30s that I realized this is where I had to be. This is where I was meant to be. I was meant to create art, certainly, but it was more important that I work with young people and share with them the things that I had learned over the years. Over the next 18 months, Michael and the board, along with gracious grant suppliers and foundations, were able to find a way for CMT to hire their very first artistic director, and I began there in their 27th season. Now, what you can see here is this is our mission statement. It's the current mission statement. And what it really is saying is this: we are about life lessons that we give to young people through the performing arts. Life lessons like, being on time and being prepared and time management. What kids are great at that. They have to practice it, or working together as a group, or learning how to compromise. These are all the important life lessons. Will you learn how to tap dance? Probably. Will you learn how to sing? Hopefully. But the fact is those are secondary to the fact that we want you to use these universal life lessons in your future. It's true. We have lots of kids that have gone on to be on Broadway or national tours. We have a Tony Award winner. We have young people that are movie stars, that are on TV, full feature film directors. We have it all. We say bravo to them and are proud of them, but we are equally proud of our architects, our lawyers, our teachers, our nurses, our mothers, our fathers, the people that have taken those universal life lessons and pushed forward in life. Did you know that CMT has a place for every person that wants to participate? I don't know if you knew that, but regardless of whether you can afford it, or whether you can get there, or whether you have a disability, no matter what your gender is, no matter what your situation is, we have a place for you at CMT. You are a part of our family, and we are offering you an authentic place to be who you are. I know, right? Clap loud for that. I knew that would be your reaction. That was my first reaction too, and my second reaction was, those shows cannot be very good. Yeah, I get it. I get it, I get it, I get it. That was my philosophy too. I was like, how is that even possible, right? But then you sort of become a part of the culture, and as you're being asked to say, let's build the business, you have to say to yourself, nobody wants to be in a club that isn't great, right? Which leads us to this. This is the puzzle. This is what has kept me going all these years. This is what keeps it interesting each and every day. There is a way to take kids and expect the absolute most out of them, so that they are able to learn how to walk the tightrope between inclusivity and excellence. It is possible. And that's why it was about 20 years ago that we all got together, the board of directors, on a Saturday afternoon. I believe people in this room were definitely involved in that. And we reworked the vision statement to include this part here where we're talking about set and achieve high artistic and personal goals. It is certainly a hallmark of the work that we do at CMT. It's not good enough just to do it. You have to do it great, or it's not worth doing. So this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to lead the way to excellence by being the first. Over many years, we have been able to cultivate relationships with the rental houses in New York, trying to find a way to bring to San Jose shows before anybody has a chance to do them. Through our relationships with them, going to New York, meeting with them, you know, whatever it takes, showing them tapes of work that we've done. It's a way we've tried to get their confidence. And over the years, we were able to achieve it, which means they were going to offer us shows before they offered them to anybody else. That's how we got to do shows like Aida when it first was, I think it had closed 2 weeks before, and we were in the rehearsal hall the next week bringing that show to life before anybody else had done it. When you're offered a show like Les Miserables as the very first group anywhere to have a chance to do it, you have to have some trepidation. I mean, don't you need a revolving stage? For us, the answer is yes, and we built one. Or one of my favorite stories around this idea of being the first is we were so lucky to be offered Billy Elliot. How many of you have seen either the musical or the movie? You guys have seen that before? Yeah. It's the story of a 10-year-old boy who's a remarkable ballet dancer. We jumped at the chance to do it without knowing how are we going to find that kid. Where is that kid going to come from, right? But we definitely have believed, you know, that field of dreams idea, if you build it, they will come. It's happened for us time and time again, and it certainly did in this show when this little 10-year-old, Matty Dean, walks through the door. We didn't know him at all. His mom had a dance studio. He loved gymnastics. He'd never sang. He had never acted before. We put him through his paces. We took a chance on the kid. He was a star like you have never seen before in this 2-hour production. He was so good that he and his father hit the road for the next 14 months as he played the role of Billy Elliot across the country in professional productions of Billy Elliot. We also have to be singular. That's how we lead the way, put things forward that nobody else has seen. We have few partners as wonderful as Disney Theatricals. They are very good to us. They believe in what we're doing, even to the fact that they use us sometimes as a way to use us as a lab. Here's a show we're not really doing anymore. Could you rewrite it? We took 6 months to rewrite it, 4 weeks to rehearse it, and ran it to sold-out crowds, a musical called When You Wish. And our work with them has continued even right up to this moment. How many of you saw Frozen? It was at the CPA recently. Did you have a chance to see it? Beautiful show, 2 hours. It's the Broadway show. It was the very last stop for that national tour. They've now concluded that show. And that same week, we announced that Frozen will have its debut at the Children's Theater this summer. The first time this 2-hour epic musical will be available to our high school and college-age kids. And as you can imagine, for those kids, that's a movie they've grown up with their whole lives. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime to say, I'm going to get down there. I want to be in that. This is how we try to promote the idea of doing wonderful things. Just like we are doing right now, we like to lead the way with contemporary shows. A lot of places probably wouldn't do shows with the themes that we have sometimes, or even the kind of music that we do, because it's difficult, or it's maybe even almost controversial. But we can't shy away from that. We have to present work. I bet you some of you, at least at one point, if not now, have teenagers. They're always 10 steps ahead of us, are they not? Which means they're aware of the stuff that the rest of us are clueless to. It is important at the Children's Theater that we stay in step with them. And that's something that we've tried to do every single day. And that's why we try to put forth contemporary works. Like 20 years ago, we were the first ones to do The Who's Tommy, which is a very driving musical. And it was our first foray, again, trying to be contemporary, into using multimedia. We had 10 slide projectors going. Ooh. And we had like live video on stage. It was quite the show. And it did change in many ways the idea that children's theater truly was not about doing work that had already been done before, but turning into something that was truly unique for the kind of work that we do. That was certainly true when we had a chance to do Rent. At this point now, we've done Rent twice. And you can see when you look at it on the screen, that is Rent. That is for sure. It's fun to be in a rehearsal hall and see these kids deliver at a remarkable, remarkable level and be able to say, oh yeah, we're doing Rent. That is a real thing, right? Or even most recently, I would say we had a chance to do American Idiot. We've now done it twice, actually. And that is Green Day, if you've ever been a fan of their music. It's a really fun musical that started up in Berkeley Rep. We all went and saw that together. Remember, we were in the car and I was like, we have got to do that when it's available. It was a big deal for us. And it became available. And again, speaking about the idea of trying to be modern, do you know in that show, we had come along so far in technology. It had 88 video screens in it with original context that would run for the entire show. It was quite an exciting show. And even right now, the kids are hard at work at a show that is currently running on Broadway, Hadestown. Anybody familiar with that show? Yeah, but isn't it cool that coming this spring, our high school and college age kids are presenting something that's still on Broadway, right? And so many of you, if you come and see it, your first experience of this show will be our kids doing it. They are going to originate work that people have never seen. That's the kind of thrill we love to give to our kids. So now we have an idea of the kind of work we do, but how are we going to create opportunities for anybody that walks through the doors? That's harder than you might think. You know, one of the greatest ways we get to know kids, we heard a little bit about it with the symphony, I think, the idea of being able to do school shows. Before a show opens on Friday morning, 10 o'clock, the buses pull up and kids from across our area come to see a show, many of them seeing a show for the very first time. Some of them I don't even think would even know what theater is. And it gives them an opportunity to see what that medium is like. And I can assure you, we make sure they leave with all the information they need to know. They have an upcoming opportunity with us. And that's a way that we get to know them. And then to dip their toe in the water, it becomes possible for them to, say, maybe take a summer camp with us. Or maybe they'll dip their toe in the water with an 8-week after-school program with us. And then maybe at that point, they're ready to be a part of a production, an 8-week kind of intense thing. What's interesting about all of those things is each and every one of them has a performance element, either a recital or a production. Why is that, you say? Well, it's not the end. That is not the end. It is the means to an end. Because at the children's theater, as I was saying earlier, we have to give them something at the end that they're striving for so that the journey becomes the most important thing. It is the process that makes CMT special, not the product. Now, the fact that the product is great is a result of the fact that the process is so carefully watched. And I'm proud of everyone that shows up in those rehearsal halls every day and makes that happen. We have 4 different performance divisions. They grow up as little ones in a show with little kids, you know. People, if you'll notice a lot of the pictures I show, they feel like they're adults and so forth. I do that for a reason, because you hear children's theater and the first thing you think is sort of dancing daisies and singing bunnies. And we do that work, and we are proud of that work. That's our junior talents, right? So you'll be in a show with young kids and you'll work your way for a couple of years up into those ranks and learn those skills, and then you jump into the next pond and you learn those skills and you jump into the next pond, so on and so on. This is how we offer them an experience that can sustain for them a slow burn into being the best that they can possibly be. Keeping in mind, too, here come 120 kids through the door, right? And how are you going to get all those kids on stage? And more importantly, how are we going to offer each and every one of them an experience that is worth their time and their personal chauffeur's time? And everybody that volunteers, how will it be worth it to them? Well, the very first thing we do, if we have 120 kids, as we do with all of our shows, we split it in half and we do 2 casts. So even though we do 11 productions every year, we actually do 22 in the fact that there are 2 casts for every show that we do. It's twice the opportunities. That's how we try to get that to happen. And at the same time, we're working with young people. Some have done dozens of shows. Some of them have never been on stage. That is quite a margin, is it not? So how are you going to put forth an idea where you can take novices and seasoned professionals into a show, have them all stretched to their absolute best ability, and at the end of the night, we serve many gods. The audience doesn't know the difference in the quality, in the storytelling that they're seeing. How are we going to give them a seamless evening? It's not easy to do. It takes great design before we even cast the show. And we use tools like this grid, where there's even before we have names, we know about how many kids are going to walk in the door. And we know they're going to be about this many at this level, and there'll be about this many good dancers, and there'll be about this many, so that then we can design an entire show, taking into account the different levels that are going to come through the door, and how can we stretch each area. And the way that we know that we've hit success is when the section of the show that has the performers that are the novices is the one that's the biggest hit of the show. That's when you know you have succeeded in bringing forth the best in what those young people have. It's in the lobby afterwards when you're with the families and you can see it, and they express it too to all of us, just the idea when they say things like, I had no idea kids could do that, or I didn't realize the potential in young people, or one of my favorite, particularly for the high school college shows, people will be in the lobby afterwards, and the kids will come out in their street clothes, and the people will be like, who are all these kids, and when are the performers coming out? It's like, well, this is them. They just transform so much on stage that it's really a surprise to the audience that that's even what's going on there. How is everybody? Okay, good. All right. Just want to make sure. Here's a really cool thing about CMT. I think it's incredibly cool. We blend volunteers and professionals, right? So we have professional designers all over the country. Thank you, Zoom. And we're able to get the best designers in the world, really. I think you've already seen concept art from one of our shows. David is a designer. We use one of our designers in New York. Here's some of the color elevations for a recent show that he did. Then we are very lucky in the fact that CMT in our new home have on-site construction, which means we have spaces that include all of our wardrobe can be built. In our wardrobe collection, at this point, we had to cut way back when we moved to this facility, so I would say we have somewhere between 10 and 15,000 costumes that we can draw on. We have a prop shop where they are constructing full-time, trying to make sure that everything we put in our hands on stage look great. And we have a construction crew in our shop. We have 5 full-time employees. It sounds like enough, but it's nowhere near enough. And here's the interesting part. It's because of volunteerism that we can do the kind of work that we do. People that give tirelessly hundreds of hours, quarter after quarter, helping us bring the work to life, whether they're running spots or sewing costumes or being an usher or moving the sets backstage. They commit themselves to the work that we're doing. They provide us with essential services for free, which is very important, of course, and we're so thankful for that. But even more so, again, everybody has to get something out of the deal. We call it the Children's Musical Theater, but in some ways I think it should be called the Family Theater, because it's really trying to find a home for the entire family. We count on the families to be a part of the work that we're doing, so that we can do the kind of level shows that we do. And a lot of folks end up learning new skills they never had, certainly, and now have and use to the best of their ability. It helps us create community with them, like these knuckleheads that were working for us in the show called Beautiful. That's the kind of support we had on For One Performance. These are people that have become friends over many, 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 many years. And in my experience of the 30 years I've been in the Children's Theater, many of them stayed great friends from then on, whether the kids are in town or not. It's a way for us to be able to create community for them. And another really big one, and I think lots of us love this idea. You know, it's so wonderful to have something that your daughter can be on stage and you're running the spotlights up above, right? You're contributing to the same piece, to the same idea, but you're not in each other's faces, if you know what I'm saying. But those rare times you get to sit down at a dinner table, it means you have the opportunity to look across to somebody that is your child and have a shared experience you'll have the rest of your life. This is the kind of differences we're making, not just for the kids, but for the families as well. Here's my last sort of idea for today. You know, we're all about stretch. Can we stretch them to the best that they can be? Let's investigate new ways to stretch them. I think we can stretch them if we inspire them, if we show them how far they can go, then their path to achievement is even greater. And that's one of the reasons that we created Marquee Productions. Marquee Productions is the 4th division of CMT. It's working actors and alumni who come back twice a year. And we put together a show. It rehearses for 4 weeks. runs for 2 weeks. It's really a fundraiser. People fly in from all over the country, New York, Florida, Texas, Los Angeles, wherever they may be, because they want to contribute to the project because they believe in what CMT did for them and will do for others. They come in for 4 weeks and we rehearse. It gives us a chance to put very high quality work on the stage. It gives our kids a chance to aspire to even more greatness. And also, a lot of times there are mentors that work with our kids on a daily basis that show up in those shows. And so you can imagine how that motivates a kid to say, oh, I so much better understand who that person is. And most importantly, at the end of every performance, there is a stage ask where we ask the audience to give just a little bit more, like the cast has done. We're right in the middle of rehearsals for our next CMT marquee production. It's called Waitress. Here again is a design that was done by David for us. Have any of you seen the musical Waitress? How many of you have seen it in this area? Exactly. Right, we are the first for sure. It's a Sarah Bareilles musical. The music is remarkable. It's retelling the movie that was made, I think, somewhere in the 2000s. It's called Waitress. Clever. How do they do it? And I have brought 3 of the performers from that production to come and join us. Come on up, you guys. And these are, I'll tell you, we already met them, but for instance, this first one right here, this is Katie. And Katie has been with us for a while, and if you've seen any of the work we do, maybe you've seen her play Mary Poppins for us in the past, but she is playing one of the waitresses in this. She's a perfect example of someone that is actually a director and choreographer, and I can't wait for the kids to see her in this work that she's doing. Right here, this is Smitha, and Smitha started working with us, what, about 7 years ago, something like that? 8 years ago. She now lives in Los Angeles, but she felt it was important to come and be a part of this production because she knows what it's done for her, and I think I can speak for her when I say her lifelong friends have now become a part of this work. And lastly, I would say, Katie too, she is here from Los Angeles. Katie grew up here, and Katie is one of those people that started with me 30 years ago and is now back to do my very last marquee show with us. We're so glad to have all 3 of you. So they're going to do the opening number for... Oh, and Matt Robin is in.
Well, hi, everyone.
I'm trying to sell tickets, Matt. Anyway. I'm kidding, of course. Anyway, we're excited for them to sing. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Take it away.
Jenna, what's the special pie today?
Deep shit blueberry bacon.
Deep shit.
No, dish. Deep dish. Sorry, Cal.
Come on, girl.
The day starts like the rest we've seen. Another carbon copy of an old routine.
Days keep coming,
One out, one in.
they keep coming.
I don't know what I wish I had, but there's no time now for thinking things like that. We got too much to do.
Too much to do, all these same things. We're always opening up, letting the day in. Over a cup, we'll say hello. How you been? Looking around, seeing the same things every day brings. Hello, how you been? Thank you, come again. Some things never change. Opening up into a new day. Open to love, isn't it amazing what comes our way? Looking around at the same things, all of them changing, 'cause everything does. Life's rearranging, and we're opening up to what's inside of, what's inside of love, love.
Sugar, butter, flour.
Okay, here's my last point, and then I'm all done. When you see entertainment like that, over the years, we'll always have people saying, oh, you know what? I think you should take children's out of the name. You know, I'm not sure that that works. And for those of us that are true believers in the work, we're always arousing, no, we are not changing the name. And it was about 25 years ago, we even started working so hard to make inroads with the folks at the National Endowment of the Arts, trying to tell them about the work that we were doing and the kind of work kids are capable of doing that is an art form unto itself. We did all the application work. That was 25 years ago. That was a lot of work, as I recall. Lots of paperwork. They came, they took a site visit, and they came and saw a show, and they passed on us, unfortunately. But we are, you know, we are tenacious folks, so we did try again and again and again. It's a lot of work to get in. But after 5 years, they granted us for the first time for artistic excellence. It was a very big deal for us at the time, because if you went on the website and you looked and you could see that we were on the list with the Lincoln Center in New York and the Goodman in Chicago and the Guthrie in Minneapolis. They're not looking for young people theater, they're looking for great work in the arts. And that's how they were judging us. So there was our theater right there along with those names. And that's what I always try to impress upon the young people at our theater, is that they are representing the entire country for what young people in theater can be. I was saying earlier, like 30 years ago, how I had that epiphany about the idea of saying, oh, I think I can really help these kids. But anybody that's been in the room with that group of folks at CMT knows it's the kids that helped me. They have given me energy and purpose and an interest in life like I never thought I could have. And I really count my days till I'll be done. But I know that the next days for the Children's Theater are going to be remarkable, and I can't wait to see what they do. Thank you all so much for having me here today.